The pure math exam is broken down into 20 questions. There would be two papers, and each paper would contain about 10 questions. So these are always the questions. There would be questions about quadratics, one about logarithm solving, then we have series, arithmetic series, geometric series, binomial series. From coordinate geometry, we have line sum, curve sum, maximum minimum values, sketching asymptotes, then volume using integration. Then we have in differential calculus, product rule and quotient rule, rate of change, kinematics. Then we have vectors. In trigonometry triangles, we have 2D planes and 3D solids. And trigonometric, we have identities. And of course, there's graph plotting. Now, it would not be clearly stated out of these 20 questions which one would be in paper 1 and which one would be paper 2. So more or less, paper 1 and paper 2, they're both 2-hour papers with 100 marks, but each would contain 10 of these 20 questions. So let's start with paper 1. So the first question over here, this falls under differential calculus kinematics, and the first question is: a particle P is moving in a straight line at time t seconds. The displacement s of the particle P at a fixed point O is this. This is displacement. So displacement is like distance in one direction. So let's do this. So s equals to 2t squared minus 9t plus 4. Now we have to find an expression for velocity. So velocity is distance by time, or displacement by time. It's like speed equals to distance by time. So whenever you have division, you have to do differentiation. So the derivative of s is ds by dt, and the derivative of this is 2 to the 4t minus 9t. Derivative is 9 and the derivative of 4 is 0. So this is the expression we can write. Therefore, b equals to 4t minus 9. Question number B is: find the time when P is instantaneously at rest. At rest means V equals to 0, not moving at all. So when V equals to 4t minus 9 equals to 0, therefore T equals to 9 by 4 seconds. So that's the answer. Find the set of values of x for which, so we have, this is a quadratic inequality. So what we have to do is x squared plus twice x minus 3 greater than thrice x plus 3. If you bring everything on the left hand side, it would be x squared twice x minus thrice x is minus x, minus 3 is minus 6 greater than 0. So we do exactly as we do if it was an equation. We do middle term break and factorize it. So this would be 6 is going to be, we have 3 to the 6, and we can write minus thrice x plus twice x. So 2 minus 3 becomes minus x. So this will be minus 6 greater than 0. We can take x common, it would be x minus 3, and if we take 2 common, it would be x minus 3 greater than 0. So that would be x minus 3 is one of the factor, x plus 2 is another of the factor greater than 0. Now a trick of doing this is, if you think of this quadratic shape as a parabola, and if you find out where it cuts the x-axis, known as the critical values, so you would see that if this was equal to 0, x would be 3 and x would be minus 2. And now reading from the left, this is greater than 0. That means the region would be this portion and this portion. So there is a blank over here. So we will write, in order to get the region, x is less than minus 2 or x is greater than 3. So this is how we write it down. Now since the question says sets of values, the convention of writing the answer is x colon, that means set of values of x, second bracket open, so x is less than minus 2, or means union x is greater than 3. So that's how it works. In question number B, we have to find the integer values of this. So 2y squared plus 9 less than 11y minus 3. So again, let's bring everything on the left hand side. 2y squared minus 11y, and 9 plus 3 is going to be plus 12 less than 0. This one is less than. So 2 into 12, for middle term break, you have to multiply this with this. That is 24. And if you want to get 11, so 8 3s are 24. That would be minus 8y minus 3y plus 12 less than 0. If we take 2y common, it would be y minus 4. If you take minus 3 common, it would be y minus 4 less than 0. So y minus 4, 2y minus 3 less than 0. So now what we can do now is we can again think of a parabola. So plus y square, it's a this shape is the parabola. So if you write this as equal to 0, value of y would be 4 and this would be 3 by 2, that is 1.5. Now this time it is less than, so below this line and between the curve and the line, this is the region we are looking for. So this region would be like this: x is between 3 by 2, which is 1.5, and 4. But this time they didn't say write down the set of values, they said write down the integer values. So let's check using a number line over here. So 3 by 2 is 1.5 and this is 4. So between this, it's not equal to this, it's less than. So it means it has to be less than 4. So that means it would be 3, it would be 2, it would be 1. That's it. So the values of the integers would be answer x equals to 1, 2, 3. No, wait a minute. 1 would not be included because 1.5, it has to be greater than 1.5. So 1 would not be included. It would only be 2 and 3. Now this question is from differential calculus and the first one is the product rule. Let me review the product rule over here. If you have to differentiate two variables that are multiplied and cannot be simplified any further, then you use the product rule. You always try to simplify it first. So this first one is going to be u, derivative of the next variable v, plus v, derivative of the next variable u. So this is the product rule. So question number A would be, they said differentiate. You don't write dy by dx because there is no y. You don't write d by dx equals to because that's a wrong notation. The first line would be differentiate means d by dx of e to the power x goes to x. And that would be, this one is u, so e to the power x d by dx of goes to x plus goes to x d by dx of e to the power x, that would be e to the power x, derivative of cos is going to be, let me write down the derivative of cos here. So d by dx of cos any angle would be minus of sine of exactly that angle, and there is a chain rule which is a product or divide of the derivative. If you have a derivative of something and you multiply or divide, that thing is known as the chain rule. So here we have to multiply the derivative of the algebra. So this would be, so cos 2x would be minus sine 2x, and the chain rule d by dx of 2x would be 2, plus we have cos 2x, now d by dx of e to the power x. Now the derivative of e to the power anything is unchanged, it would be e to the power ax, whatever it is, and the chain rule we have d by dx of ax. So this means e to the power x, the derivative is going to be e to the power x, and the chain rule d by dx of x is going to be 1. Now let's rearrange it. So we can write the 2 in front. Now there is a negative first. We can write minus 2, then we can write e to the power x, we can write sine 2x plus, again we can write e to the power x cos 2x. You can either take e to the power x common or leave it like this. Now for question number B, we have differentiate this. Now it is divided, so d by dx 4x plus 1 divided by 2x squared minus x. So we have to differentiate this, which is in division. We call this the quotient rule. When two variables are divided and they cannot be simplified any further, we use the quotient rule, u by v. So this is v d by dx of u minus u d by dx of v divided by v squared. One way of remembering is this. Think of this as high and think of this as ho. So high d ho minus ho d high divided by ho ho. That's a trick to remember this. So let's do this. So what we can do over here is we can write this v in front, 2x squared minus x. Then we can write d by dx of 4x plus 1. Then we can write minus 4x plus 1 into d by dx of 2x squared minus x. So that and downstairs it would be v squared, so 2x squared minus x whole squared. So now we can write 2x squared minus x, and the derivative of 4x plus 1 is going to be 4, minus we have 4x plus 1, and the derivative of 2x squared is 4x, and the derivative of x is 1. And here we have 2x squared minus x whole squared. It's a good idea not to break this down any further. So what we can do over here is we can simplify. We can write 4 to the 8 x squared minus 4x. Then we can write 4x plus 1, 4x minus 1. This is a plus b, a minus b can be written as a squared minus b squared. So we can write 4x whole squared minus 1 squared. We can either multiply it or we can just use this shortcut. So this would be 2x squared minus x whole squared. So this turns out to be 8x squared minus 4x minus 4x whole squared is 16x squared, minus minus plus 1 divided by 2x squared minus x whole squared. So we can write 1 minus 4x, 8 minus 16 is minus 8x squared divided by 2x squared minus x whole squared. So question number 4, this is coordinate geometry sketching asymptote. The first thing we have to find the equation of the asymptote to the curve which is parallel to the x-axis. If the asymptote is parallel to the x-axis, it's the asymptote of y. And if it's parallel to the y-axis, it's the asymptote of x. So the rule for finding the asymptote is that when you have this ax plus b divided by cx plus d, the asymptote of y would be coefficient of this upstairs x divided by coefficient of downstairs x, and the asymptote of x would be the downstairs equals to 0, so it comes x equals to minus d by c. Asymptote is simply when you divide a number with a very small number, it becomes a very large number, and that number which is so large that cannot be expressed, we call it asymptote. Now, so let's start with question number 4a. So a1, so write down the asymptote parallel to the x-axis. So that is the asymptote of y. So y equals to, so coefficient of x upstairs is 2 divided by coefficient of x downstairs is 1. So I'm going to write just 2. Then the asymptote parallel to the y-axis is going to be asymptote of x. So downstairs equals to 0. So x minus 7 equal to 0. So I'm going to write x equals to 7 directly. Now question number b. Find the coordinates of the points where the curve crosses the coordinate axis. Axis is the plural for x-axis, y-axis. So we can write at x-axis y equal to 0. That would mean twice x minus 3, x minus 7 equals to 0. So twice x minus 3 equals to 0. Therefore, x equals to 3 by 2. So the point would be 3 by 2, comma 0. Next, at y-axis, x equals to 0. That would mean y equals to 0 minus 3, 0 minus 7. That would be 3 by 7. So this would be 0, 3 by 7. Now we have to do the sketch. Question number C. Make sure the sketch is pretty big and it's at least half the page. This is very important because it carries quite a number of marks. I'm going to sketch it over here in this space. I'll try to see whether I have enough space. So I'm going to sketch it over here. So this is going to be first the y-axis, then the x-axis, and then the origin. This 3 is important. So first the asymptote y equals to 2. So y equals to 2 would be this line. It's a sketch. It doesn't have to be that accurate, but it has to be logically accurate. So this would be y equals to 2. Label the asymptote. Then x equal to 7. So x equal to 7. So this would be 7. So let me label it over here. X equals to 7. Now it cuts the x-axis at 3 by 2, which is 1.5 around here. 3 by 2, and y-axis at 3 by 7 is somewhere around here. 3 by 7. So let's draw the boomerang shaped curve. It would go through here. it would be something like this. And exactly on the other side, the boomerang would be like this. So that's the asymptote sketching.